Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jamie. This will be a reading for Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Keep in mind that this is for a really large collective. None of these readings are private personals, and so sometimes they won't resonate. For something like more than 1/12 of the population, So only take a reading if it does resonate. And of course, remember there is no gender, so if I pull a queen, it could also be talking about a guy. Or vice versa. It's really all about their personality. I do take private personals. The information's in the description below and in the pinned section of the comments. Also linked in there some of the channel subscribers, small businesses. I do promote those for free if that's something that you feel would be helpful for you. There's also a really important nonprofit organization. You can help some kids out there. Before I begin the reading, I'd like to say that these readings are meant to make folks more self-aware. That's actually the idea of tarot. So nothing said here is meant to be offensive. If you do get triggered and you decide you want to come in the comment section, I do just invite you to ask yourself if you can handle that same energy back. I'm not really these other readers, and my comment section is a community of people I love. So if you can't take what you dish out, I wouldn't suggest that. Okay, so let's begin. Tell me about Cancer right now. Okay, so we're starting off with the Seven of Wands. Underneath the deck I have the World, which was the overall energy yesterday for that Cancer reading, so that's interesting. The Five of Wands, and it flopped out in the reverse there. The Four of Pentacles, the Moon, Pisces energy. The Four of Swords, the Magician, the Seven of Pentacles. I feel like somebody's really triggered in this energy. I say triggered because this Five of Wands is in the reverse, so this is like conflict, arguments, fighting. I don't know, I feel like somebody's really like holding on to some type of some fear. I mean that's where triggered energy comes from, but it's like maybe they're not even super aware. Somebody here is not aware. that they're holding themselves back, that they're holding on to some old pain. And I feel like it just comes out in these like triggered outbursts. I'm gonna say not self-aware because the moon is here. But I feel like someone's becoming very aware with the world. See here, there's this period of time, you know, that I think that you've been trying to heal from something and maybe doing it the wrong way. I know a lot of people who will do something like this, and a lot of times it does come down to trauma. You know, like people have experienced trauma and then later, you know, something triggers them, and because they get triggered and they get angry, they feel like the best thing for them to do is to just stay away from everybody. Sort of self-isolate, be quiet. Nobody knows where you're at or what you're doing. It's a full mystery. And I don't think somebody sees this as a pattern. I think they see this as how to protect themselves. The best way to protect myself is to get away from everyone and just sort of be alone. And that can be true when you're like looking for answers from within, you know, on how to do this, or maybe it's like trying to sit in silence and figure out the pathology. But I feel like here somebody's doing, I mean, like their behavior pattern is not congruent with what they're trying to get to happen here. You know, it's I don't know how else to explain that. There's like something that you really want, something that you're willing to like work for, and you can't understand like maybe why it's not actually happening. I don't know. I feel like somebody here especially during this eclipse maybe, what's going to be revealed here is this weird pattern of getting really triggered, getting really crazy, and then just pulling back all their energy and going into like hiding or isolation. And maybe somebody here doesn't understand that that is a trauma response. Like they're not understanding that. To completely withdraw from everyone and just kind of like hide inside. But it's saying here that in order to get what you want, you have to be willing to look at the pattern. You have to be willing to put in some kind of work, because what you put out there is what you're going to get back. You know, if you're triggered and defensive all the time, people will also be triggered by that and defensive. So I feel like somebody is not understanding that what they keep receiving back from people is actually something they're putting out there, whether it's just negativity, trust issues, like this very like triggered, unhealthy, attack somebody energy. It's really going to come, like you're going to see it this week. I do feel like the energy is volatile and rough. Somebody here, though, is their own worst critic. They are not. I think somebody doesn't understand, like, the underlying issue here. You know, and this happens a lot, too. So, like, when we talk about, like, trauma work, you know, and a lot of people think they've experienced trauma, and they necessarily have not, you know. And also to understand that, you know, like, childhood trauma versus trauma and blah, blah, blah. A lot of people have just had like adverse situations in life, you know, but it's not trauma. Whoever I'm speaking to here, I'm talking about trauma. But what do we do with trauma? We repress the memory. When we repress things, they come back out later. We'll see in others, you know, horrible intentions, whether they have them or not. I also kind of get the energy here that when someone is triggered and there is a reaction and they go hide by themselves, I kind of feel like it's always sort of like looking at other people like they're like manipulating you, or they're like purposely triggering you, something like that. What I mean by this is that it's a pathology. Nobody's aware here in this situation, not yet. It's about to happen, whether it's through this reading or just literally something happens, over the weekend with that solar eclipse. There's also this element of Mercury here. Right now Mercury is retrograde, so this past trauma could be coming up. I feel like somebody could be triggering you, and you're going to see that, there's a part of you that just absolutely is not healed. Like all of a sudden you're just defensive and fighting and arguing and screaming and completely out of control. The Five of Wands in the reverse is a crazy energy. Excuse me. Interestingly enough, though, I feel like the way that you felt like you've had to protect yourself from people were that people were dangerous, and I think you don't understand the dangers of your own behavior here, and it's going to be definitely brought to light here so that it can be changed. Trauma is not our fault, but we do have to handle our own triggers. We have to, get the correct therapy. We need to, try to work on ourselves in those situations, because what it does to those around us can actually be really hurtful, and I don't think somebody sees that. Somebody sees it as somebody hurt me, I need to go within my shell and hide there, but to everyone else, they may see this as avoidant, like you aren't considering their feelings, you don't care about them, you just have this huge fight with them and then run away. I think somebody feels like this behavior is like acceptable. Maybe once it was like, well, maybe you should just be alone for a while and, figure out what you need. And it, that's still different than isolation. And I think somebody here is isolating. It's like their skin is so thin. If they go around people, they're just automatically anxious and triggered, and they feel like most people are manipulative and have hidden intentions, or that they're going to hurt them. This is not normal to live like this. This is horrible. To not trust anyone, to not be able to control your behavior, to actually be scared of your own behavior. Tell me more about this energy, please. Oh, okay. Okay, so I have the Emperor, the Fool, Aries and Aquarius energy here, the Ten of Pentacles. The Ace of Cups came out in the reverse, the Seven of Swords in the reverse, the Page of Cups in the reverse, and the King of Swords in the upright. I don't mean to be triggering, but some of you have like a very abusive like father figure in the house. It's making me actually sad. It's kind of making me sick to my stomach, the energy. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't know who this person is. I want to punch him though. Like, a lot of you grew up under some type of like crazy ass control, like this person, everything had to be their way. Everybody needed to be in line. I feel like this household didn't really have, there was no emotions. There's something about a parent here where it's almost like they were just apathetic, with the Ace of Cups in the reverse. Like, they had no emotions to offer. And were wildly deceptive, maybe, lying, sneaking, doing something weird. I'm kind of getting maybe somebody's parent really was like a drinker. Because the Emperor can be a male or a female in tarot. There's just no gender. I just get mean as a snake. Interestingly enough, I think that like this person's idea of, parenting was really just about like stability. And things needed to look on the outside very different than they were inside. I feel like outside, it's like this person was like considered like, wildly successful, genius, somebody who really thinks outside of the box and can just go in any direction. And I think people weren't understanding that actually this was the type of person that would step on their toes. That's how they got successful, And I feel like at home, this person was a fucking monster. Chills all down my spine. Either way, thus creating this thinking pattern. There's something about not really being able to control your thoughts, and that's why these behaviors are so sporadic. I feel like somebody grew up in a very, very unpredictable household. It wasn't just unloving and uncaring, it was unpredictable. Like you could wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and somebody's like just fucking crazy, throwing things around, screaming. Maybe for some of you this would get physical. For a lot of you, it's like you're just programmed to unpredictability, so like I feel like, for a lot of you, this is like real stress disorder shit, like real trauma, and I feel you can't trust anyone's intentions because of this person. It's like I feel always looking for the intentions of people around you. You'd be the type of person where if you were in a room, and I can understand the isolation, because when you're in a room, you probably really are anxious. You're looking for the one person in the room that you really need to look out for. I'm feeling like somebody in the grocery store and like really feeling naked in a grocery store, like they stand out, or people are really like paying attention to them, and that they really need to like be always looking over their shoulder. It's actually very like sad kind of energy to literally just not trust the intentions of normal human beings around you. It's scary for you though. Some of this stuff may be brought up under this moon, that like a lot of the behavior that you are participating in is really some type of maladaptive behavior. This is how I survived. Ooh, my voice shook when I said that. Survived. You're not supposed to just be surviving as a child. I don't know if you guys know that or not. Some people don't understand that they have experienced real life trauma. When it's in the household, I think that's the hardest, because it's like, what do you mean? Everybody's house isn't like this? So, you're just always on guard, but this is probably also really terrible for your health. It makes it hard for you to show up properly too, I feel like you're not understanding like experiencing you as a partner, or maybe you as a parent. Where because you're just always looking for some unpredictable event, it's like in these moments though, you just become a monster. And that's how you feel about yourself. Because you're not in control of it. You feel like you're a monster in those moments. It's almost like you can see that there's a problem, but I think somebody's not really doing too much about the problem. They're still kind of looking at other people as unsafe, despite the fact that they're showing up unsafe. I'm sorry, people don't like to talk about this. People talk about, narcissistic abuse and how, people, get like CPTSD from this, And I don't know why they kind of make it sound cute, because PTSD is a killer. You can become so triggered that you hurt somebody, and less severe cases, yourself and somebody else, but it's triggered energy. You're not in control of your behavior. That's scary. Somebody's not seeing, though, that this is going to require a professional, I think. You know, it's like somebody who, I'm not just talking about a therapist, I'm talking about like someone who specializes in like behavioral therapy. You know, when I say dangerous too, I'm not talking about just like possibly hurting other people. I mean, it's very dangerous for your body to constantly be in fight or flight. That's not supposed to be a thing. You're supposed to live in the now, not what happened, 15, 20 years ago, and not what's going to happen 10 years from now or 5 minutes from now. I think somebody hasn't been present since they were a child. I guarantee there's a lot of dissociation. You're supposed to be doing something, but somehow your brain just clicks off and goes into la la land for a while. It's not normal. Explosive behavior when you feel like somebody's doing something to you, not normal. It actually isn't. Running away and hiding away from everyone because you feel like a monster, that's probably about time that you start becoming self-aware of at least a little bit. You at least see the behavior, even if you don't understand the mental pattern leading up to it. But I understand. The Nine of Swords, the Page of Wands, the Knight of Pentacles, Five of Swords. So, yeah. I think that as soon as something makes you fear something, like when you were a child, this would be like, my husband gets mad at me and he yells. And maybe in his household that was normal. As violent as things got is somebody yelling. But I grew up in a household where yelling meant something fucking terrible was about to happen. That may be hard. That may be a hard relationship to deal with on both ends, just blow up because this person's yelling, I feel like I'm about to be hit or something very unpredictable is going to happen. I don't know. I think you're waiting for it, though. Like it's just a matter of time before somebody does something crazy to me. And maybe this has sort of been true, too. It's like maybe you pick people in life that are a lot like this emperor. And so you're always just waiting for the person to push you into that trigger without ever healing the trigger, though. It's like, I don't know. I think a lot of times if we can't see it, we don't know really what it is. Again, seeing the problem in other people. There is a sincere thing here, though, where like when you first meet someone, it's like you don't really open up too much. And over time, you close down more and more because you're literally just waiting for someone to do something to hurt you. In the process, you're not really like emotionally available to this person. It's like you're actually coming off like terrified. So it seems like when they first meet you, you're okay. But slowly over time, your behavior just starts to change. And I feel like this is You know, this has sabotaged a lot of situations for you here. I'm not sure somebody sees it that way, though. That's the problem. Not yet. And that's pathology. So, like, you know, it's hard for me to explain this to people. Like, I think the best example of pathology, right? Think about the one person that you know who's a fucking thief. Like, they're a thief, you know? What is it like when you go to their house? Everything's locked up. They hardly let anybody in. They're constantly worried somebody's going to take something from them. That's pathology. Seeing in others who you are. But not seeing that you are it, if that makes sense. You know, like the thief, he might even know he's a thief, you know, but like he's expecting everyone to also be a thief, which clearly isn't the truth. You're expecting everybody here to be the emperor, which isn't the truth, and slowly over time you become him. You may not be as aggressive, you may not be as violent, but it's there, that triggered energy, the behavior, the not being able to control it, it's there. So not only do you find others unpredictable, but you can't even predict your own behavior here. And despite all of this, still just kind of like deciding, oh God, I'm unsafe, let me just go hide inside. I also feel like with the Five of Swords, there's like this pushing away. Maybe you don't see this as that. When I like retract my energy and just pull back and go inside and hide out, it's because I don't feel safe, you know? But what does the other person see that as? They may see it as me being completely apathetic. I don't care about their feelings at all, that I'm, you know, just crazed. And maybe pushing people away because you don't want them to experience this monster side of you. It's easier to, you know, maybe have a reaction than just go hide. But I feel like this Five of Swords is also really about like just pushing people away. As soon as somebody gets too close, it's like, that's triggering. The King of Wands, the Two of Cups, the Three of Cups, and the Ace of Wands. The Wheel of Fortune with the World. Chariot, Cancer energy. I think you have someone specific in your life, Cancer, who really does care for you. The King of Wands. I mean, really cares for you. With the Two of Cups, the Three of Cups. Like this person is deeply, deeply committed to you, whether this is a friend, a family member, a lover or something. You cannot trust this person. You fight them, you try to push them away. It's like you just won't let them in. I don't think somebody's seeing this though. This person might be, you may see them as very triggering, . But I don't think that you're actually seeing it for what it really is. It's like you can't trust this person. I don't think they're giving you like signs. I don't feel like they're doing something. It's how you're perceiving that they do something. And it relates back to this child's like energy. And so maybe your triggers lie somewhere around not feeling heard, not feeling seen, not feeling loved, not feeling like someone would take care of you or provide for you. And I feel like someone really is and is trying to, but it's a fight to love you. I feel like it is a literal, like your heart is just completely surrounded by landmines and nobody's gonna get in. And I think that despite your behavior and your actions and your nasty words, I'm gonna throw that out there, I think this person just continues to love you, and I think that's why things need to change here. Somebody's sitting here showing you consistent, unconditional love, that they're not gonna put their hands on you, that they're not going to just do something crazy to you. I feel like this person's been in your life for a while. So I feel, maybe you've always sort of seen this person as a problem, but either right now, because of the moon's energy, or coming into the new moon, you may start to realize that somebody's been fucking sticking it out with you through thick and thin, and you've been fighting them the whole way, and it's time to fucking stop and like just sit down and relax. And honestly, for some of you, go to fucking therapy. Like, I'm sorry, but if you grew up getting your ass whooped every day, you probably need therapy. If you grew up with a parent that was an addict, baby, you need therapy. I promise you. That is not how a household is supposed to be. Parents that had severe mental health problems. We don't know how much that affects us until we're in these romantic relationships. But I feel like here, the problem is constantly feeling justified for the behavior. Well, you said this, or you did that, or you don't show me that you love me, or blah, blah, blah. You're not even paying attention to like how this person's showing up. It's like you just keep waiting for them to do something to you. And I'm gonna keep it real, I think you guys might accuse this person a lot of doing things to you. Oddly enough though, I feel like this person actually just understands, which means that you could actually be really hurting this person, because who would understand this energy? Probably somebody that can connect, somebody who can empathize, somebody who's been there. It's time to move on from some things that have happened. It's time to integrate your shadow, because this is not integrated. Maybe for most of your relationships, you would sort of kind of try to move on to the next thing, thinking like that person was a bad person, and try to like move into something new. And just slowly over time, it becomes the same fucking problem again and again and again. And most people do this, and they still can't see it as them. I think the relationship with whoever this King of Wands is, I don't know, I just lost my train of thought right there. Whoa. What I was saying there, what I'm kind of getting here is that like the changes that you keep thinking another person needs to make are really more just like a perceived problem with the person. I feel like this person is really attracted to you, they have deep love for you, they only want what's best for you. I feel like they've supported you through a lot of things here, including a whole like project. I feel like, there's some abuse on your end with this person. if I'm keeping it real. I don't mean them abusing you either, baby. These readings, when they're personal, they're not in the reverse, you know. What do they need to know or look out for with this situation? The Lovers, Gemini energy. Yes. The Queen of Swords, Page of Pentacles, and the Tower. Yeah, I feel like the moon is forcing you to actually like maybe listen to what someone else is saying, or really start to pay attention to your own pattern here and the choices that you've made, and like kind of looking at like, you know, I think some people really do offer you genuine love, support, and stability in life. It's going to shock you to realize that like all this time these people have genuinely, maybe not everyone, you know, I'm sure you met a couple motherfuckers in your life that deserved all that triggered energy, but I feel like there's someone or even a few connections here where you really have to look at it. And I feel like out of nowhere you're going to realize, holy shit, for a long time I've really been the problem. I'm my own worst enemy. People show up to love me and I think they were here to murder me. There's just something. I feel like if you guys are watching this today, you're going to say, this doesn't resonate. But then when the moon, that moon energy comes, you're going to come back and be like, yo, this resonates. This resonates. You could say half the reading resonates, where it's like, yeah, I did grow up in that kind of home, but I don't really behave like that, you know what I mean? Unless I'm seriously triggered. So I feel like what you need to look out for is your response to what someone else is saying to you. The words, the thoughts that you choose to have, the words that you choose to use in situations. And maybe pay attention to, because the Queen of Swords, she's taking in information, how childish sometimes this is. And I mean, I don't mean childish like you're, you know, acting like a child. I mean, literally, it's a childish mentality from being hurt as a child. It's like you're trying to protect this inner child. You know? So I get it. That's this energy here. But what you're seeing as, you know, protecting yourself, I think is hurting other people. And it's important to know that. For some of you, it could be a child. You know, realizing that when you're triggered, you also have some of the behavioral patterns from here, where it's like that, you know, you just don't say the right things, you know, it's like, where you just react big. I'm getting for some of you, this is a partner and a child, you know, where it's like you're really paying attention to how you've been behaving and realizing, holy shit, this really is trauma. Like, I really do need help. And not in a bad way. You know, I think I understand trauma, I just didn't realize mine was trauma. And I think that's most people, you know, like usually when people talk about their trauma, they'll just outright say like the craziest situation that you could ever imagine being in as a child, like it was nothing. There's no like emotional response to it, like it was just a normal thing in the upbringing. That's trauma. And then sometimes traumas are so bad, it's like they're very repressed until all of a sudden something happens, and here I'm feeling it's like this eclipse energy really lapsing you back to the bigger problem here, you know. I think it requires, some people are literally are going to be getting help from somebody after this. It's like, okay, maybe I really do need therapy, at least self-help in some type of way. I don't feel like I'm going to keep it real with you. I think that self-help is beautiful and it's great to help you cope with life, but therapy is quite different in this type of situation where someone can help you to, think differently and think before reacting. It's probably not something you're going to teach yourself. What's the advice here? The Hanged Man, Pisces energy. The Knight of Swords, Justice, Libra energy. The bottom of the deck, the Two of Pentacles. Yes. The Six of Cups. The advice is to pay attention to your thoughts and behavior. There's impulsivity here. What's impulsivity? When you react before you think. Because until you're aware of this mindset, which I think you're about to become, something is going to trigger the hell out of you very soon. And you're going to start to realize this is literally a pattern from childhood, and you're going to be able to correct it. Be it through help with others, having the people in your household, really hold you accountable in those times and say, yo, you need to tell me when I'm acting like this because then I'm triggered and I really need some help. Or this is how I need space and time when I get triggered because I'm really going through, bringing up those old wounds. And just to be clear, that's exactly what this eclipse is about. There's like so much Chiron energy going on, so like anything that ever wounded you will be coming to the surface, but to heal you. So you can say to other people, listen, when I was growing up, when people got really loud, that something really bad was going to happen. I'm really working on that trigger. I would really appreciate it if you also work with me on that, though. You please just talk to me and don't yell at me. Sometimes I get triggered because this happened, and I want to change the behavior, and I'm working on it, and I'm sorry if I hurt you with it. But first, you have to be aware, and it's going to be so clear. But it's being shown to you so you can correct it. It's the world. You would be amazed by how 8 weeks of behavioral therapy would change your entire relationship, household, and self. But also doing things outside of it. Learning a really good meditation practice, maybe doing Reiki, maybe doing yoga, doing something that's going to make you present and be in the now and not anxious and, waiting for unpredictable behaviors. Having some sense of security. Because I feel like you're just walking around confused and overwhelmed all of the time. And so, yeah, death is here. Scorpio energy. It's time to change it. May I please have a closing message for Cancer? Thank you. That's quite quick. So we have Eagle, Mastery. You are on a spiritual journey beyond the sky. Let go of the past and soar. You are guided by the winds of spirit. Your wisdom inspires the world. So this is definitely becoming self-aware and letting go of the past. I think it's going to be a really rough time for Cancer. But we're going to do this together. So it's going to be okay. I'll see you guys soon.